What's a piece of advice you wish someone told you as a kid?
Being yourself is good enough. I think you try to mold yourself to what you think is the right way to be, but who you are is invaluable and could be the reason why you're successful.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of A-Listers. My guest today is an actor and most known from HBO's 12 Days of Christmas and most recently, MTV's The Challenge. Welcome to the show, Corey Lay.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Take me back to your life before reality TV. What made you decide to try out for it? Can you tell me a little about that process?
Yeah, so when my first show came along, 12 Days of Christmas, I was a full-time personal trainer. I was working for myself. I was partnering with gyms in Los Angeles and training my clients, just around. And, then basically I'm trying to think when this happened. So I got the call for 12 Days of Christmas like last February. So it was just before COVID was starting. And at that time I was like, well, I only have maybe 5 or 6 clients. I can easily postpone, our training sessions for a couple of weeks or a couple of months to do this show. And I went off and did it. And to be very honest, I've always been interested in reality TV. I grew up watching it a lot. I'm a huge fan of reality TV, especially dating shows. So 12 Dates of Christmas was a Christmas themed dating show. And, I was very single at the time. I still am. And I love Christmas. And I said, why not? I only have like one shot to do this potentially. I'm not gonna pass this thing up.
You are a video game developer. This true?
Yes, I am.
What more can you tell me about that world? Because that's awesome to me.
Yeah. I do try to keep those two worlds separate because, I am a full-time employee right now for a game studio. I'm just kind of keeping that to myself, though. Okay. But, I got my start in the industry as a QA tester when I was 20 or 21 years old, which is literally, you're playing a game to test it. And over the course of the next 9 years of my life, I worked my way up through the chain. Right now, I am a senior producer, which is somebody who manages like ideas and creative and schedules and budgets. So, I'm basically a project manager, but, in the video game world, we call that producers. So there's a little bit of creative work, but it's mostly like, let's get this thing out. So let's work, move this train along, basically.
I just find that so interesting. And obviously, as you can tell by my background, that would be something of interest to me.
Yeah, I'm a huge gamer, but if I wasn't playing sports growing up or working out, I was just in my bedroom playing video games like all day. Like I am like so obsessed with both sides of things. I'm like a nerd, but I'm also like very athletic. So it's like a funny combination.
That's a good combination.
Right.
Give us a good rep, Now, you recently made your debut on The Challenge. Were you familiar with that show, or was this completely new territory? I know you said you liked reality TV.
Yeah, so The Challenge, the show, I did grow up watching. So when I was in high school, it was always on. I was always on MTV watching every single reality show that they had. And I kind of fell off like in my 20s. So I was busy doing other things and I stopped watching The Challenge, but my best friends watched The Challenge still, like they kept up with it always. And when The Challenge came around that I might be on it, I went back and I did watch the last 10 seasons. So I binged and I made sure I knew like I know what the show used to be. And now I get to see what the show currently is, who's on it, how they play, what are the strategies. And so I came in with the best of my ability, knowing how I might want to play the game. So yeah, I definitely did not want to show up like a fish out of water and be confused. And I did my research.
Now, unfortunately, we saw this week that you got sent home, which honestly, I was bummed about because I literally was rooting for you from the start.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that because I brought you on the show, but like literally, I remember because there were so many new people on that first episode, so it was hard to say who you liked, who you didn't like. I remember telling my wife, I was like, I'm on board with this guy. Like he's got personality, And then we saw the physical aspect of you just like throwing people off the side of that. Do you think you will return in the future? Is it in the cards for you to return in the future?
There's no doubt. If they ask me to return, I will come back, and I will keep coming back for as long as they want me to. I am a very big fan of the show. Now that I was on there, I had so much fun. Despite the emotional kind of whirlwind I went through, my back against the wall, I had a lot of fun and I loved the experience, and I feel like I'm a little bit addicted to it. I'm also a very competitive person. Like even the video games I play these days, I only play like competitive online things. Like I play a lot of like Apex and Fortnite and like Call of Duty, but only the online modes against other people. I like to win. And so the challenge is what I loved about playing sports growing up, but it's as an adult. Like I love competing, I love winning, and I really want to win that $1 million because obviously $1 million is an amazing amount of money. But I also just want to win for like the Black gay community who hasn't. I don't know if a Black gay man has ever won. Maybe no. Did Marlon win? I don't think Marlon won. I don't think Preston won. So yeah, I don't think that a Black gay man has won the show. And I would love to do that to show people watching that we can do this too. No matter who you are, what your background is, what your sexual orientation is, you can also compete. You can also do well, and that is to me more important than the $1 million. But obviously, I'll take the $1 million if I win it. But like I feel like I have something to prove and I have something to show the world. So. Yeah.
Now, do you think going into another season for you, would you change anything about your gameplay? Because I honestly think, even though you did get eliminated, that a lot of people would look back and be like, you don't want to mess with that guy. Like, he's a beast out there. So it's a gamble to vote you in depending on what the format would be.
Yeah, I think I need to connect and make more firm alliances sooner. The first big time I really reached out. So I tried to reach out to Anissa and Tori, just, and that didn't actually end up working out for me, but I didn't actually try to make a firm alliance like, oh, you're like, I'm never going to vote you in, blah, 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 because I was too afraid of kind of seeming like I was doing too much or like trying to be everyone's friend. I mean, we heard people said Kels was trying to make all these deals, and I didn't want that same thing to come back towards me. But I think next time coming in, I really need to solidify myself with a group of people that we're going to ride together, vote together, work together, and get to the end together, because without that, you're just fodder. You can be easily voted into house votes. You can easily be voted into eliminations. And now coming in, I didn't know a single person. I can know who people were, but I didn't actually know them. And now I know people, they know me. And I feel like it'll be easier to kind of bridge the gap and become allies and partners because, as you said, people can see that I'm a good competitor and I'd be a good ally. So let's hope that next time I come around, I can get an alliance and I can get to the end and I can win. So that's the plan.
Now, you're a total beast in the gym. And anytime I bring somebody on the show with a background in any sort of athletic things, I got to ask, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out on a fitness journey? They don't know anything.
Yeah. The biggest thing I say is consistency. Figure out what your cadence is, whether it's once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever that is, and then make it a habit that's part of your routine. No matter what, no matter how you feel, just go and do it and do something. If one day you don't feel as motivated to do a bunch of things, like at least just, walk on a treadmill, just be active for a set amount of time, however many times a day you want. And then as you get more comfortable, you can do more things. And honestly, the biggest thing too is don't be hard on yourself. If one day you don't want to go to the gym and you don't go, don't feel defeated. That's okay. There are times I don't go to the gym and it's fine because in the long run, missing one day is not going to change too much. So be consistent, make it a habit, but also go easy on yourself. Like working out is hard. If you're not used to it, it's just something that you have to kind of, it's a force of habit. I actually enjoy working out. I have a lot of fun doing it, but for some people it's not that. And just choose your time, do it consistently, and don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of the times, the most intimidating people at the gym or intimidating looking people at the gym are also very nice. And if you're ever confused about, oh, how do I do this thing? Just ask someone, ask a trainer if there's a trainer at the gym, because often those give you advice for free because, don't hurt yourself. You don't have to do anything crazy.
So now I also saw you're an actor as well. In your future, do you see yourself trying to pursue more acting related or more reality TV related? Which one's at the moment?
At the moment, reality TV. So when I was in my late teens and early 20s, I did study acting. I was going to a bunch of different acting studios in LA and training. I was doing improv things. So I was just learning all of that. So I've loved entertainment, pop culture, media forever. I've always been a fan. And it actually allowed me to learn a lot about myself and how I process emotions and how to allow myself to be affected in my real life, because I think I grew up in a shell and I didn't really express myself a lot. And doing acting classes actually taught me what it felt like to be vulnerable and allow people to affect me. And now I carry that into my day-to-day life. I think reality TV is where I want to be right now. I think showing people like, hey, I'm a real person, and this real person can achieve these things and can be a role model for you because I am real. That's important to me. But for now, I want to show people that being you is also good enough, and I'll do my best at being me.
Now, what advice would you give somebody who's wanting to jump into that reality TV world? Like, they have no idea how to get in there, but they're like, man, I know I could do this, or I think I could do this.
Yeah, I had such a very interesting invitation to do reality TV. My first show found me on Instagram. I had a DM from a casting producer.
Amazing.
And then the challenge came around because someone who's now my manager was watching 12 Dates of Christmas. That person is pretty involved with a lot of MTV casting shows. So they got me connected with the producer, asking me, like, after they asked me if I would do the challenge. So, things kind of just fell in my lap. So I feel very lucky, very blessed. But, there are a lot of casting calls online. You can go to I think Buna Muri, who does Challenge in the Real World and things like that. Like, they actually do post their casting notices just online. You can self-submit. I have friends who have done a variety of reality shows, whether it's The Circle or RuPaul's Drag Race. And honestly, those are just self-submissions. So don't be afraid to submit yourself for something because you never know. Like, they have to choose someone, and that someone might be you. Right. So try it. Don't get discouraged if they don't choose you because, for example, if anyone watches RuPaul's Drag Race, Simone just won the last main season of it. Simone applied to Drag Race multiple times for multiple seasons before they got chosen, and then they won. So just because you don't get chosen the first time you submit for something doesn't mean you're not a good fit for it and that you should give up, because you just never really know what they're looking for that season, or if they even saw your tape, because they get who knows how many millions or thousands of submissions they get. So you have to be relentless in whatever you want and just go for it. Yeah.
So this last bit is going to be the rapid fire questions.
Now, let's go.
Favorite video game?
Halo.
Favorite superhero?
Black Panther.
Favorite DC movie?
Harley Quinn.
Favorite Marvel movie?
Captain America: Civil War.
Oh, I love that one.
So good.
Favorite movie in general? It can be comic book, doesn't have to be.
Titanic.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
I've seen it so many times.
What's the worst thing people do in the gym?
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Okay. The worst thing, they don't clean up after themselves, whether it's their sweat or they get dumbbells and they just leave them after they're done using them, or they don't unload their, just act like it's your house. Clean up after yourself. That is my biggest pet peeve in the gym.
So if you had to pick one superpower, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Teleportation.
What's one of your biggest pet peeves?
I think rudeness. Just I don't know if that's a way to say. I can elaborate. Let's say someone's walking behind you, and there are a couple hold the door open. It's just little things like that. To me, it's come on, you guys. Have some have some awareness of what's going on around you. I have such a big pet peeve. Also, if someone doesn't say bless you when I sneeze, for whatever reason, that makes me so irrationally angry. I'm like, it's like a cultural norm to say bless you. Just say it if I sneeze, please. It makes me so angry. I don't know why.
I had a situation when I asked that question. I don't always ask the same ones, but about a pet peeve, and somebody said, when I hold the door for somebody and they just walk in like I'm the doorman and they don't say a word.
Say thank you. Yes, say thank you.
Right. Yeah, that stuff happens so much. My wife will be like, "Oh, we put on our invisibility cloaks today, I guess."
Right.
What would you do on Mars for fun?
Mars, I feel like they have low gravity, right? That's what I think. So I would just jump around and do flips. I feel like that'd be really cool, like 0G or low G.
No impact either for the landings.
Yeah, no exactly. Impact. And because I'm afraid of doing that in real life, because on Earth I'll land on my neck and die. How
do you like your steak cooked?
Oh, so this is. I used to do well done. I know people would yell at me for that.
Oh, but they will.
I grew up my dad was like, no pinkness, no red in me. You're going to die. Too. You're going to get sick. And so more recently, I went from well done to medium well to now I'm doing some medium. As long as it's not extremely bloody, I'm fine with it. So and I do notice the difference. It's way juicier and better when it's pinkish and, the fat is more melting off and it's not charred. I do like the charred taste. So you make sure you sear it, but in the middle. So yeah, I would say right now, more likely medium well, but I'm experimenting with medium.
What is it one job you would be terrible at?
So many of them, because I hate working, to be very honest. Let's see. I would be really bad at being, I think, a politician, to be honest, because I'm too opinionated and I cannot ever mince my words. And so I feel like politicians kind of don't ever answer any questions and they don't ever say how they feel. That's the opposite of me.
What's a piece of advice you wish someone told you as a kid?
Being yourself is good enough. I think, you try to mold yourself to what you think is the right way to be, but who you are is invaluable and could be the reason why you're successful. Like, I love to use Lil Nas X as an example when I say this, because, him being a queer Black man is not a disadvantage. It is why he's successful. It is why he's so good at what he does, the music he makes, the art he puts out there, his creativity. And he's not minimizing himself to try to be what other people in hip hop as men are. So, who you are is a unique strength, and be proud of it and use it, because no one else has that. And that one thing is your personal it factor that makes you special.
Now, if you could add one person, does not have to be a president, to Mount Rushmore, who would it be and why?
Me. I hope that, by the time I reach the end of my life, I've made a really impactful I've just been impactful on the world and done something to leave it better.
What is one food you could not live without?
What do I eat? I eat the most of enchiladas. Is that weird? Like, I love enchiladas so much, specifically cheese enchiladas, which is, I don't care if there's meat in there, but if I'm ever going to Uber eat something to my house, it's typically enchiladas from some random restaurant around me.
What is one of your favorite memories?
Oh, one of my favorite memories, I think, would be, so I ran track a lot growing up. And just one thing I can distinctly remember is, let's say you're running a race. Your ears and your brain will always isolate voices that you know. And I remember, let's say I'm running a race around a track and I get towards the final stretch. My mom and my dad would always be on the sidelines, screaming. And there's thousands of people yelling, but I could always hear them. I could always hear them motivating me, like, Corey, go harder. You can do this. You can do this. And that is a memory that means so much to me, because whenever I'm going through something, I just remember that I always have their support and that I can still hear their voices of Corey, you can do this. You can do this. And I hope that when I have children, that I can also instill them with that same type of just push and drive as their parents, to have them do their best. So, I constantly remember that, just my parents have always been such big supporters of me still to this day. And it's a great memory to have.
That's a great story. And thank you for sharing that, because I love that. What is your biggest goal in life?
My biggest goal in life is to make life easier for everyone else. Through my visibility, through my sacrifices, through my mistakes, through whatever it is, I want to be a vessel to make things easier for other people. I bring it up a lot, but as a queer Black man, I didn't have any role models growing up. I didn't have someone showing me, you can win the challenge, you can compete, you can do all of these things. And I want to be that for someone else, so that they can be inspired by me and they can do better than me. Whatever I achieve in my life, I want to inspire somebody else as a kid to grow up without any limit.
That was my last rapid fire. I will have everything for you, Corey, linked down in the description. But
cool.
What's next? What's next, man?
Yeah, what's next for me is hopefully another season of the challenge. We'll see. I'm not sure yet if they'll come calling my way. I mean, the season literally just started airing, so I'm pretty sure the next one is not even on their minds right now. They got to get this show done first. But I'm getting myself in better shape than I was when I left for Croatia for Spies, Lives, and Allies. I was just coming out of COVID and I wasn't in as great shape as I wanted to be, because last year was super tough on a lot of people, including myself. And I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating very well. And I just kind of was going through the motions. And I'm getting myself back to where I want to be physically. And I'm going on a vacation soon. I'm just trying to enjoy life and have fun right now. And, I would love to do another dating show too. I'm still single. And, I had a great experience on my first show, 12 Dates of Christmas, despite not finding love. And I'm still a believer. You can find it out there, especially, I think you can find it on TV as well. So, we'll see what happens there. And, I just want to keep having fun and keep inspiring people.